Good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the Ask the Counselor show. My name is Counselormsvee, and I am here with Marie and Shanna. And we're going to talk today about women's issues. We got some women here and from the Buffalo area, and we're going to talk a lot about just things that happens in women's lives that help them to move forward, and the things that barriers in women's lives that kind of help, that kind of keep them from moving forward. The first thing we're going to talk about is self-esteem and self-image. I mean, what do you think about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? What do other people think about you? How does it feel to move forward with your life? And how do you get or build a good self-image of yourself? Anybody want to talk? Let's talk about that.
I guess it all starts in the mind, I guess.
It does start in the mind.
I guess it starts
in the mind.
Yeah.
And it basically, actually it starts in childhood. Mm-hmm. It starts in your childhood, and it starts basically about the things that you hear growing up. It starts about like the support system that you have. Mm-hmm. It talks a lot about, it definitely starts that your environment is a big factor on, your self-image and your self-esteem. And a lot of times when girls, because we're talking about women's issues today, go through puberty, right? they encounter obstacles within their self-image, like maybe they got bad skin, or maybe they maybe gained a couple of pounds, or that also can affect one's self-image. So I would ask myself, how do you build or rebuild your self-image?
Well, first you have to, like one of the problems with people with their self-image and their self-esteem is like the social media now.
Yeah.
Those influences, cause us to like really reevaluate ourselves. We're constantly in the mirror. We kind of look for things to be wrong, so the way, to probably try to work on that is maybe avoid some of that, learn to love yourself, a lot of things you can't change. Some of these things are hereditary, and then we got the problem where people are able to buy what they want and things like that. So it makes it hard for someone to accept themselves for the way they are, because they can go and change.
Right.
So just trying to maybe cut down on the social media and look at yourself for your inner qualities. I think that can help a lot with the self-esteem.
Because a lot of times the media, TV, magazines, like you said, social media, have an image of somebody that's unrealistic. That's made up. and they take the filter and take a picture, and that filter glosses the real person and the person behind that. So, everybody is not going to be a 10.
Absolutely.
And so you just have to, like you said, accept the person that you are, and just kind of, just work on yourself, and just not even think about, what other people think as far as you.
Right.
You got to have that good, positive mindset to move forward.
Yes.
Another thing is assertive communication. A lot of times women, whether older women, younger women, are very passive. They let anything go. They allow a lot of things to come, their way, and they're not in agreement with it, and it happens. So assertive communication is basically key. You need to say what you want. Not go for anything, especially if it's harmful to you or detrimental to your character. You just need to be assertive, and you need to communicate assertiveness within your talk.
But a lot of people want to be accepted.
Exactly.
They want to be accepted. I'm using an example like with men. A lot of women want to be accepted.
Right.
Because they don't want the man not to like them if they, they have certain morals and certain standards, but they won't they won't tell them because they're afraid of losing that relationship or losing
Right.
that friendship with that man, you know. So it's just an example that we have to just, like she said, we have to just stand up and be who we are and keep our character and our self-esteem, you know.
Yes, yeah. And that ties in together, like the assertive communication and your self-image and things like that. Now, sometimes if we come off a little too assertive and we're too strong, then our self-image to other people is, oh, she, you know, they're looking at us like, oh, she thinks she's a boss.
Yeah.
They
Right.
use the B word, you know. So a lot of times it's kind of portrayed the wrong way, you know. But in our view of our self-image, ourselves, if we're being assertive like that, we might feel like, you know, we're in charge, you know. We know what we want. That's important, to know what you
Yeah, to
want
know
and,
what
and to
you
go for it.
Yeah.
And for women this day and age, we've been able to do that a little bit more. And that's good, because a lot of times, even with, you've heard in the news with, what's that guy's name? Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein. You made me think about him, how women were working in the industry on, you know, TV and things like that, and behind camera they were being treated as you know, sexual objects,
Right.
things like that,
Right.
you know. And now today you're seeing these women are coming out. You've got a whole movement behind this, you know, because they were being tarnished in the background, you know.
Right.
And we, you know, we look at it and we're a very judgmental type of society these days, and we tear each other down quite a bit. So it is time to be assertive, say what you want, say what you're not going to go for,
Yes.
you know, and not be afraid of the consequences. And that's why a lot of women were quiet about it, because of the consequences, you know.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, you know, us as women, one of you may have experienced like some sexual harassment on the job, or somebody saying something a little smart, and you kept your mouth shut because you wanted to keep your job.
Yes.
You know, and if we be assertive, you know, we may lose our job behind it, but it's something that we have to learn to do.
Yeah, you
know.
have to be your own voice, and you have to speak out when things that you know
Right.
is not right is happening to you. That actually ties into setting appropriate boundaries. When you have healthy boundaries, and I don't care if it's with your family, with your friends, with whomever, with your employees, your co-workers, set appropriate boundaries. It's not okay for somebody to be in your personal space,
Right.
you know, and you just need to let them know, you know, this is not okay, you know. You need to move back, or I don't like the way you're talking to me, or you know what I mean. But it's a way that you can do it and handle it
Yes.
appropriately, you know, without being quote unquote gangster or ghetto or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? You can just say, look, I don't feel comfortable when you
Yes.
do this to me, so you need to stop. And if they don't stop, then it's your job to just move back or cut them out of your life, because the most important person that we're talking about is you.
Yes.
It's you, and it's about making you okay, moving forward with your life, and making sure that you feel confident in basically anything that you do. When you're at home, when you're at work, or if you're in school, you need to make sure that you're okay.
That's absolutely
right.
true. Yes. Very good.
Your support network. Your support network is basically, I think it's your shoulder. Your
is.
support network could be your church. Of course, your support network is your God.
Yes, amen.
You know, that's first and foremost. Your support network could be your family. You know, your support network could be your friends. You don't have to have 100 friends or 1,000 friends on Facebook. As long as you got a couple of friends that you can rely
Good
on, a couple of
friends.
family members that you can
Yes.
rely on, that you can trust to keep your secrets, or that you can trust to uplift you when things are going bad. That's you don't know how powerful that is.
Yes, very
You know,
powerful.
so I think that's the key.
And I like the fact that you were saying like family and, you know, like spiritual, like God.
Yes.
And the reason why, you know, that struck out to me is because a lot of times dealing with Facebook, like you mentioned, a lot of people are going to that social media looking for the likes and the loves and the attention from
Yes.
them, and they're pouring out their heart, you know, on social media instead of talking to that family or looking for, you know, some type of spiritual
guidance.
yeah.
Yes.
And that causes a lot of problems. I mean, I've even seen, people that I know go on there and just rant. It's okay to rant a little bit, talk about a couple things, but they actually really use this, and their hopes are that somebody is going to give them some good advice from social media, strangers, people that have no real close connection to you. So it is definitely important to have a healthy support network.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that you said about social media is so true. I remember reading, I think it was about a year ago, and a young man was talking to a girl via internet, and she convinced him that it was okay to commit suicide.
Oh my God.
And he did. And I just that just stunned me, because again, social media is so powerful.
Yes, it
is.
And a lot of times people befriend the people on social media instead of befriending the people right in their community or the school or whatever, because they feel like they can be more accepted, through Facebook or through Instagram or whatever social thing. Don't get me wrong, it is good to a certain extent, but be mindful about social media, because it could be in anything that's good. It has its downfalls.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With it. When we talk about practicing self-care, taking care of yourself, and that could mean watching your diet, that could mean exercising, that could mean developing a more spiritual walk. Practicing self-care is so important. As a clinician, as a counselor, I have to practice self-care daily, because I hear a lot of things in session with people, and I don't want to bring or have that weigh me down, because that bears on you. But believe you me, I'm not the kind of counselor that just walks out the door at 5 o'clock and say, okay, hey, bye. As a person, when somebody tells you in-depth stuff, you're gonna feel it. Especially when you have a relationship with that person. So I practice self-care, and I it's a rule of thumb, for myself, and I tell other people, other women, and other people in general, take care of yourself. Do relaxation and meditation or mindfulness. Listen to some upbeat music. Listen to some spiritual music. Do some deep breathing. Take a walk. It will help you, and it will help you feel better.
Right. Yes. And you know what? Just thinking about that, when I was at work the other day, what we do before we start our work day is we'll have like a little discussion like this. So my job is a bunch of us women, and the question was, what do you think you need for yourself, like this year? Like what is it your goal? And mine was, which I don't mind sharing, was to try to make time for myself.
Yes.
Being a mother of 8 is a big deal. So I don't really get to get that time for myself, and all the kids are home. So I was like, I need to try to figure out a way to just get me a little me time. And that's a way of self-care too. I mean, you're working, you got kids to take care of, that's enough. So even if it's just a couple minutes in the shower, while you're in the shower. Absolutely. Absolutely. That bathroom could be your little spa place, Absolutely. So you got to find it wherever you can. If you can, like when you arrive at home after work, you could sit in your car for a little, a couple minutes, before you go in and just, have some quiet time to yourself. Yeah. So we do have to, make sure that we have that self-care for ourselves, and getting at I don't want you to go crazy and get it by any means, but I do want you to know, as a woman and as a human being, to make that time for yourself, because if you don't get that self-care, as her being a counselor, she can experience burnout. Us as people, we can get overwhelmed, just normally, and we can start having, issues with our mental health. We can get mentally sick, get get into a deep depression or anything. You know, you can see a change in our mood. Sometimes, you know, we get a little crabby, and, you know, a lot of things are blamed, like as women, you know, a lot of things are blamed on our PMS or, you know, our hormones and things like that. But no, we're human beings. We go through things. So life is stressful. So it's really important, you know, to have that healthy surrounding around you, like the support network. Right. So you want to have people that will care for you and things like that, and give you some boundaries, give you that space, and let you have that time for yourself. So that's all important.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Thinking positively or behaving proactively is also something. It's all about what you think about yourself, you know, and it's not really about what other people think about you. It's about what other people think about you. It's about what you think about you.
Yeah.
You know, and usually a lot of times when you think about you positively, or dang, I know I can do this, or I know I can accomplish that, that spills into what other people think.
Yes.
You know, she's a real go-getter. She can do this and she can do that. You know, they'll have that same thought. But if you walking around like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Oh, I'm this. Other people will pick up on that. You know, other people will pick up on that, and they'll be like, oh, she can't do that. She can't do this. You know what I mean? So you have to think positive. You have to be positive, even though, and we're all human. So even though you might have an off day, you know, you might feel down, like you said, for a period of time. Turn on some music and, you know, and shake that off.
That's right.
Don't let that sit on you for no long period of time, you know, because again, it's about you. It's about how you feel and how you feel or portray, you know, to others around you.
Right, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
What about reaching your goals and your dreams? That is, you know, something you can. I think everybody should have, you know, goals and dreams. Don't ever not have a goal or dream. You know, I want to, you know, whatever. I want to get my doctorate degree. I want to, you know, own my own house. If you don't have dreams and goals, you're not working towards nothing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it kind of gives you something to look forward to.
Right.
Exactly. You're just existing.
Yeah, it makes it more exciting. It gives you something to look forward to.
Set goals for yourself. Yeah, I mean, a lot in counseling and therapy, I always tell people, what is your long-term goal? What is your short-term goal? You know, or where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
You know, that's a miracle question. Where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see yourself next week? You know what I mean? So you got to also set realistic goals. You know, of course, you're not going to say, oh, I want to be, right, I want to be an astronaut and you can't pass science. You know what I mean? Something like that. But other things like, you know, that you want to, you know, have a house, that's tangible. You can do that. You know, it's a whole bunch of programs out here. It's services out here. You may want to be a nurse. You know, you may want to do whatever your goal is. You can obtain it. Just remember that it is tangible, and just remember small steps. Small steps. It's not about the fastest who gets there, who gets, you know, about what is the hare and the turtle. It's not about who gets there first. It's about who gets there, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So I was going to ask you ladies, like, do you have any goals that, like, just little small ones? Like, do you have a certain goal that you're trying to get this year? A lot of people, you know, they set these resolutions. So I mean, I didn't, but I mean, I have some goals, you know. But I was wondering, do you have any goals that you set for this year?
I know, like for me, like you said, self-care. Trying to take more better care of myself and look at more what Marie needs or more what Marie wants, because I'm like a caregiver. I'm always trying to make sure that everybody's okay. So I have to make sure I cater more to me. That's one of my biggest things, you know, eating right, healthy, you know, just everything about me inside and out. That's what I'm trying to.
That's mine too, because I'm so quick, you know, by me having a lot of things on my plate. I'm running to the fast food here and the fast food there, and, you know, cutting out the fast food and eating healthier. You know, maybe I'll bring me a salad to work, or maybe I'll, you know, bring me eat not have red meat for the rest of the week or only on the weekends, just about, like you said, just making slowly, slow steps and just, but they're goals, and you can accomplish them. Just like I said, just make sure that they're reachable goals.
Right, yeah, it's good points.
And I wanted to say too, earlier we talked about self-esteem. I wanted to tell you guys, I had a problem dealing with self-esteem. I mean, like they said, the spiritual, the spiritual, that will help, like having a walk with God, and that kind of helps. He boosted, he the one that helped me with my self-esteem. It helps me every day the more I look to him. So that's another key factor to what they were saying. It goes along with what they were saying.
Yeah. And it's not just as women. I mean, men go through some self-esteem issues too.
This is for everybody.
Men goes,
yeah.
We said women, but actually this show is basically for everybody because, like you said, men have self-esteem issues. Men have assertive communication issues. Men have problems setting boundaries.
Yes.
Setting appropriate boundaries, and men also need a support system or a support network. Men also need to practice self-care.
Yes, definitely.
Men also need to think positively, and men also need goals. That basically is it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So, I am so happy. Did you guys got anything else to share?
No, and I just wanted, just as far as the men part, I was just going to throw that out there because a lot of times when we have a subject on social media or whatever, our opinion, and we say woman this, like we're not looking at we're the only ones with problems.
Yeah.
So we just want you to know, men, that we're thinking about you guys too, and you got to get it together too.
Okay. B, I want to end with this. Well, I actually want to end it with two things. Thank you for tuning in to Ask the Counselor Show. I want to thank Marie. I want to thank Shanna. And I definitely want to thank Ramona Overall, who's my director and my producer. And in a nutshell, be careful how you talk to yourself because you are listening. That's deep, ain't it?
That's real deep.
Yeah, I like that.
And also, 2 Timothy 1:4, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. Okay. Again, this is the Ask the Counselor Show. I'm Counselor Ms. V, and I hope you tune in next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.